Hello, everybody. This is Lisa, One Singing Lady Gilliam, here with your LLG Random But Real Wednesday Word on Word Wednesday. Y'all know I'm excited. I'm always excited. Today I have my friend and former co-worker, Erin Travers, and I'm excited to have her here. But before we talk about that, I got to get the housekeeping out. So, I have a CD. It's called Depend. It is now on my website. You can purchase it at www.lisalgilliam.com. Y'all see it there? Please go to the website. And while you're there, leave a message on my guest book. If you've ever heard me speak or sing or train or anything live, even when I was preaching, anything live, please put it in the chat. If you've ever gone to Celebrate Life or any of the events that I've sponsored, past the present conference or the concert, anything, if it's ever blessed you, please, please, please go to the website and actually, buy the CD. Again, it's entitled Depend. My other one, Past the Present, as well as God Delivered Me, the single, are also on there for download, available for download. So I'm trying to think. I also sell doTERRA, which is essential oils. And so you can have it's a link also on my website for those people who want to purchase there. mydoterra.com/Lisa Gilliam, or no, just Lisa Gilliam for that one. And as always, if you rather stream music, you can go to Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Apple Music, iTunes, whatever place you can actually stream music, even YouTube, to find my music. But I would love your support. Love your support. Okay. I would love your support. So thank you. Okay. So with that being said, I would like to introduce my friend. I met Erin, I don't even know how many years ago. She was 5. At the time. How long was it?
Like 5.
Okay, so we'll go with 5. 5 years ago. I'm probably the older one. It might be a little bit forgetful. Sometimes, so you gotta have the younger ones around. And we just kind of clicked, She was doing a school counselor internship at the place where I worked. I was placed in the school, and I worked with the counselor, did mental health counseling, and we still are cross paths with that. And then years later, I ended up being placed at her school, at her office, where she was technically like my on-site boss, if you want to put it that way. But I feel like it was one of her boss, because she didn't want to tell me what to do, but she just let me do what I need to do. And so we would get to these interesting conversations over the years. And I think that because of the conversations, hello, Dr. Braxy Gilkey Cruises, joining us. She's on here. I gotta give a shout out to her because she's on here all the time. She always supports, even if she got to get off because Bible study is about to start. She is on here, and I appreciate it because it's nothing like talking to people and you don't see nobody on. Although I tell you, people do watch the replays. So if you think as long as you share it, people will watch it. So you all please like and subscribe to YouTube. Okay, One Singing Lady is spelled out, and you can share this link if Erin shared it with you, or see the link that I share with you, share with people, and they'll be able to see the replays tomorrow, because it takes time for the video to process. But anyway, met Erin in school. We just had some very interesting conversations. Who knows? It might get heated today. It might not. We keep it real. That's why it's random for real. So I wanted to let Erin introduce herself to you in the manner that she feels pleased. But I introduce you, Erin Travers.
Hi, my name is Erin Travers. I am a wife, a mother, a stepmother, a school counselor of lots of littles, a sister, and an aunt, and a cousin, and all those good things.
Right, all of that.
Right.
Anything else you want to say about yourself?
Happy Veterans Day. I am also a retired military kid, so happy Veterans Day to all.
Yes, happy Veterans
my mommy,
Day.
my daddy, my stepdad, my husband, my sister, my uncle. It keeps going. I'm a military family. Happy Veterans Day to all.
Yes, I actually posted today a Soldier's Cry. My friend Conica Dunson wrote and had me sing, and it's on my Facebook page. So if y'all want to check it out, it's because a lot of times veterans don't speak about like the pain, the tears that they have, and the song kind of speaks to that. And it's on YouTube too. You should be able to find it. I'll put that in the chat. A Soldier's Cry. Definitely happy Veterans Day. We appreciate you all serving for us. Thank you so much. Okay. With that being said, let's take a look or listen. Feelings. No one seems to care anymore about feelings. People hurt others and don't bother about feelings. Souls and hearts are broken when they just wanted a token of love to share, joy to release. Feelings are the cause of all this grief. I thought you were my friend, but I was wrong. I thought you cared about me, but I was wrong. I laughed, but I'm crying on the inside. You hurt my feelings. Why? What do you think when you hear that?
I think that is kind of a metaphor of what's going on right now with people in general. But it's a good raw poem about friendship because it happens like that sometimes.
It
Sometimes
does.
you think you can trust somebody, and then all of a sudden your business is on the street, or they disappear. What do the kids call it? They ghost you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened. That happens too. Um, so Miss Gilkey says she can't stay, but she will catch it tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Um, so today we're going to be talking mostly about feelings and emotions, or really empathy and emotions. When I think about feelings and emotions, to me, they are so similar. And so I just wanted to read the definitions I found. Feelings are experienced consciously. Emotions manifest either consciously or subconsciously. And being a counselor, I'm sure that you, just like I have found, that a lot of times there is, I can hear like the background noise now, Miss Travers. You asked me earlier, but now I can definitely hear it.
Oh, you can hear.
The background,
I'm
yes. Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. So she says
Mommy problems.
so that means that it might be sounds, but hopefully you all can hear what we're talking about. And so I think a lot of times when it comes to our feelings, our emotions, um, even as counselors, I know when I was working with children, it was hard to pull that out, trying to get their emotions out. But the funny thing to me, and not haha funny, but ironic funny, is that a lot of adults don't know how to express their
Yep.
emotions. So then my question becomes, how can we be empathetic to imagining oneself in another position or situation if we don't know our emotions or our feelings, or if we're not honest about them? What do you think about that?
I think that's what a lot of our issues come from now, where we're in situations where I'm gonna be real, where the first response when somebody is murdered in the street by the police is, well, what did they do? Because we don't see a person dying. We don't have empathy because we don't even understand what feelings we're feeling, because a lot of different complex emotions pop up when you see something like that. You can be mad, you can be sad, you can be scared, you can be frustrated,
Mhm.
but not know how that feels in your body, because like you said, a lot of adults don't know what that is. And so it's hard for you to put yourself in somebody else's shoes when you don't know what your shoes feel like. It's just a lot. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I like working in elementary school, is because I can start with this generation to help them to understand that when you can name your feeling, somebody can help you, or you can even help yourself when it
Mhm.
gets out of control, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think it takes? Because yes, I know you love working at elementary. I did not. I did it, and I did my job well, but my passion is older people. I want you to be able to influence this. That is my
That is
preference.
the hard part. That is the hard part.
But I've had to draw, and I've had to use, drama, and just all different other portions of therapy, music, to try to relate to the students and bring their feelings or their emotions out. What do you find? So why is it such a passion for yours, or when you have this child that has not been expressing their emotions or their feelings, and then all of a sudden they're like, Miss Travers, I feel whatever it is. How does that make you feel? What does that do to you?
It makes me feel like that they're kind of getting it if they're starting to be able to express themselves. A lot of us are limited to angry, happy, and sleepy, or hungry. That's
Yes,
that's my that's
especially
my
now during
favorite
COVID.
emotion, right? That's my
Yes.
favorite emotion. The kids will say, I'll say, "How you doing today?" I'm hungry. Okay, thank you. But yeah, when they can finally express something like, understanding that they may be feeling two or three things at a time. And it's great now when I'm giving my counseling lessons because we can use the example of virtual learning because that brings up a variety of different emotions. Because in the spring in my county, we didn't have very many face-to-face meetings. So now here in the fall, going into winter, they are used to getting onto these meetings, showing their faces, seeing their friends, seeing their teacher's face. So they're excited that it's better than it was in the spring, but they're still mad that they can't give each other high fives and hugs and sit by each other at lunch. And what is recess when you're in virtual learning,
Right.
And so
Are y'all mandatory? Did they have to show their face on camera and you all
if
county?
they have a camera,
Oh.
if they have a camera, they're supposed to show their faces. As a counselor, when I have my lessons, I don't make them show their faces. I say when they log in, I say, let me see your face because I haven't seen you in a while. And then after that, I say, you can turn it off if you don't feel like showing your face right now. But, I have a little bit more leeway with that because they didn't tell me I had to have the students have the cameras on, but it came down from the top that people needed to have their cameras on if they had a camera available.
Understood. We can't mandate at all in our county. However, when I do my one-on-ones with my students, I do ask them, I was like, can I see your face? I want to see your face. Thank you. And so they're usually like, okay, Miss Gilliam, and they'll do it and then they'll turn that's fine. But at least I get to see them just for like a second. Like I try to, because it's a different connection. If I did this, I didn't see you with my camera on, then it definitely kind of changes things. So I like to be able to see. I was speaking to a friend who's a teacher in Atlanta. Don't ask me which county. I should just say Georgia, but close to Atlanta. I think Gwinnett, but maybe not. Could be DeKalb, but they have to. They're mandated to turn their cameras on, and I understand the reasons why they say they shouldn't because the background could be not necessarily the best background. I understand that, but it makes it really difficult for teachers who are, trying to teach to blank screens. It makes it really difficult. Hey, Brock from Brock just joined us. How are you? And thanks for joining. So let's talk about, and you talked about all of your different roles. Let's look at your roles and how emotions and empathy plays in the different roles of Erin Travers. So we got school counselor. We have wife. How does emotion and empathy play into you as a wife?
As a wife, hold on, I'm trying to have empathy right now as a mother.
We're gonna do that role first. We want to do that role next, but you can do that first if you like.
As a wife, just understanding what my husband is going through. A Black man who's a police officer in today's climate, making sure that home is a place where he can be and just be himself, but also to let out, to turn off when things are going on. Because although he is not a police officer in the street with a car, he still is very much in touch with everything that goes on in our community and surrounding communities with the police force. So it's a lot and it's heavy. And so being empathetic means being able to let him watch whatever he needs to watch, however many sports shows there are that
even if it's the entire evening.
Yes, if that's what needs to go down so that he can recenter himself, then that's what needs to go down. Because I have my time too. So
Right. Do you think that people are empathetic, one, to police officers, and two, to you all as spouses, like as to what you have to go through?
I think so. I think when people really understand kind of what police officers go through, then they are empathetic to some police officers. And spouses, I don't know. Spouses usually get left out. Because, here we are on Veterans Day, and a lot of people don't realize how much a military spouse gives up. So that type of thing, Spouses are usually second, but a lot of times there are entities in place to support spouses. But yeah, I mean, it's touch and go. I think it's just a 21st century problem that you have to make that extra effort to, whatever the group is, whether it's police spouses or it's teachers or it's doctors and nurses, you have to make that extra intentional effort to actually care enough to be empathetic for that group of people.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about empathy is because I think you are empathetic, you always have like a positive, happy spin on things, even if you're not positively happy about the thing we're talking about. So when it comes to Erin as a mother, how do you deal with just your emotions and feelings, either surrounding, because I know your child, you know what I mean? Like I actually know who he is. We have our own little relationship. Tell him I say hello. And so but just being a mom and actually being in the system where your child goes to school and you see maybe how a teacher or a staff member or another child, maybe even the child that you're counseling, treats him, or if he's dealing with something or whatever, how do you express, or do you express your emotions, or are you ever empathetic to the other people who are, because mamas take care of their children, especially mamas of boys. y'all not messing with my son. So how do you deal with empathy in those situations?
Well, that's a lot. That's loaded, first of all.
You can break it down with
But you know me though, because I am very real and I never lose sight of the fact that I'm raising a Black man in America. And so, yes, I'm going to be a mama bear when I need to be a mama bear, but I'm also going to teach my child to be empathetic. I'm also going to teach my child that there are some more rules in place that he needs to follow that are written down places. So no one will be able to say that you were disrespectful. No one will be able to say that you were out of line or not following directions. So we work a lot on that. And I talk to him a lot about how, we need to, because we do believe in Jesus, we need to remember how Jesus would have acted in that situation. Is it fair all the time? No, but sometimes we need to go the extra mile because we're representing Christ wherever we go.
True. So do you feel like you could have that same conversation with your stepdaughter?
I think I could, but I don't know that I necessarily have to.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, like her mom is pretty awesome, and she was with her mom most of the time, and she's got all of those things in place. Plus, she's so much older, and she's a girl.
Right.
And girls handle things differently, and she's also she just seems to be an empathetic person as well. As long as I've known her, which I got married to my husband when she was 11, and I knew her a little bit before her 10th birthday, but as long as I've known her, she's always been a buddy in school. And she's always had a friend that she's been paired with that had autism or some other disability, so that she would already be pulling them into the community and allowing other people to see how they are maybe different, but they're just like us as well. So she's already on par. We don't have to have those kind of conversations.
Do you think that it's a difference with men trying to teach men, whether it's your child or anybody,
Yes.
work with men rather than females? And why do you think
it's a lot harder? I would just say in American society, men are allowed a lot less emotions than women. Yeah, I don't want to go too far off the beaten path, but men are very much, again, men are relegated to happy, mad, and then they can be sad if somebody died, but they can't necessarily be sad about anything that is sad. I think that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of people who won't go and get help for PTSD, because they don't realize that it's okay that they're not over something that happened 20 years ago, because it's something that actually physically, biologically, chemically, neurologically change them. And they think it's just emotions, but it's not just emotions. And emotions aren't just a thing. Emotions are part of us. Yes, we can get control over them, but if you can't name it, once again, back to the beginning, if you can't name it, we can't ask for help.
Absolutely.
So I think that's just where we get stuck.
It frustrates me when I'm dealing with anybody. When I say dealing, I'm not even talking about like significant others. I mean, like if I'm having a conversation with somebody who has like no empathy. And I was before, I'm just being,
Mhm.
when I don't want sympathy. I want empathy. So um when I was learning about this, like probably before grad school, I was sharing with you my biggest example is like I don't have pets. I
Mm.
Less about pets. Just me personally. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need them. I don't want them. I don't want to spend extra money on them. It does not. Like I'm allergic to cats, so they're out. Dogs are cool. Like I'll pet your dog or whatever, but then sometimes even the dander from them will make me sick. So what I learned was because I care about you. If you had a dog and you told me your dog died, because I care about you, I would put myself in your shoes. How would I feel if that were my dog? Well,
Right.
I would be sad. I would be upset. I might even be mad. I would have all these different feelings. And so, because I care about you as a person, then I'm able to be empathetic to your situation. I may have sympathy too. I might be like, oh, that's really messed up. I'm sorry
Mhm.
dog died, but empathy takes it a step further. And you mentioned about Christ earlier. I feel like Christ was the epitome or the best example of being empathetic. Like he bore our sins, he stood in our place or whatever, and so he knows what it's like to go through this stuff, but he never sinned himself. Like, and he still
Right.
loved us enough to sacrifice his own life, which is just amazing to me. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
um, but I think that it takes counselors. It's great that you have the desire to want to work with students who are so young to try to give them that foundation because it is really hard. I've seen for adults who never knew how to be empathetic to all of a sudden start. It's
Mhm.
like have you ever had a conversation with somebody who didn't know they think they're analytical, but they could not balance it with any type of emotion.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't.
It's like there's a total disconnect. They spent so much time, you know, analyzing and breaking things down that they forgot that it's not just a thing. It's a
Mhm.
living being and it has, you know, a beating heart and lots of emotions and lots of thoughts that string through it. And, it's a lot. Like
Why?
people really go ahead.
No, I'm going.
No, yeah, just people really we need more in place to help people to understand that. And I think the reason why I have fallen in love with working with the elementary kids is because even though they may not change, I know I'm planting a seed and I'm
Very true.
saying the same stuff over and over every year. They know me. They know who I am. They know I'm going to say the same stuff over and over every year. So eventually, I mean, when I play the silly songs that go with it, like we actually just got finished talking about complex emotions and how to control your emotions. And then there's a silly song that says, stop and name your feeling, calm down. Stop and name your feeling, calm down. See, that'll be stuck in your head, and next thing you know it, you're in 10th grade and you go, "Stop
Stop.
naming your feelings."
Exactly. Because
Right?
we'll hear a song and we'll definitely be that's what we're doing. That's very true. So I kid what is the movie? I know you know. The movie with the blue face people and who moved across the town.
Well, fun tale. Inside Out.
Yes, I love Inside Out because it is the oh my goodness, like I'm like every adult in every family. Like I was trying to assign that movie
Everyone.
to
Everyone should
everybody.
watch it. Everyone should watch it. We just dressed up. We had a fall festival at school, and so we just dressed up at some of the characters.
Oh,
Um,
that's cute.
and the parents, like, I feel like there's a lot of hope for this generation because the parents were like, "That's one of my favorite movies." And little do they know, naming those emotions and seeing how different those emotions can act in different situations and in different people makes
Yes.
a difference. It helps you understand, you know?
Absolutely. If you all have any questions for Erin and I as we talk about emotions and empathy and feelings, please put them in the chat. I would love to ask her. Again, thanks to those of you, Dr. Gilkey and Brock and Dr. J, who have joined us thus far. I know some of you all already know this because you deal with it in your own professions, but we appreciate, being there. I'm trying to think because like sometimes this is not, it's not a long thing. I just think it's something that we need to talk about more. I think that empathy and then trying to get people to understand, like I had a guest last week, shout out to Drake, who he was saying how a lot of African American males, the friends don't really understand what it is that he feels when he's going through, like if he's feeling depressed or if he had some health issues younger and is having them now as well. And so he, was just expressing that he's like, his friends expect him to just get over it, just jump back and be happy go lucky. And it doesn't work like that. And so how can someone be, because I always ask a mental health question, either if you personally have had to deal with any type of mental health, and as always, you're not obligated to say or not say. And if you have, and you want to say, have people been empathetic to even your own plight? Or you could take it from being a professional as you are counseling children, because even though they're children, sometimes they do have some symptoms of some of these mental health issues early on. And do you think that other people, adults as well as children, are empathetic to their situations?
I think I'm in a unique situation because I work in an elementary school and I work with people who, deal with IEPs, individual education plan for the non-educators out there.
Right.
They understand that people need different things to be successful, and they need different things to help them thrive. And so it's a little bit easier. I don't always, honestly, I don't care how many people know that I struggle with ADHD. I just don't wear it on my sleeve when it comes to parents. I do tell them though, like when I have parents that are on the phone and they're freaking out because they just found out their kid has ADHD, I'll say, I have ADHD. I have a master's degree and I'm helping your kid, and who better to help your kid develop the coping skills that they need to be successful. Because that's the thing, people are paralyzed, any kind of neurodiversity, and they think that they're not going to be successful. And I can name you the list of people who deal with bipolar who are famous, and who are ADHD who are famous, who deal with depression who are famous. Just because people always look for famous people. But the fear that comes in people's bodies when they find out their child is different. We're all supposed to be different. So we just need to find ways to cope so that we can be successful. And our coping skills are all going to be unique to us as well. So it's just, for me, I feel like it's your comfort level. And it's how much you want to dig in to find out what it is. Because once again, when you can name whatever it is, then you know what it is. And you can dig in. You could do the Google search, then you can dig deeper and get the more, academic articles and the research and things like that too. So all the information is out there and it'll be at your fingertips, but you have to do the work to find out what it is. If you're struggling with, like you said, your friend with health issues, if you're struggling with a health issue, then you'll know how to find that health issue. It's, for some reason, we still have this stigma that mental health isn't part of your physical health. Oh, yes, it is. Like, your body doesn't work without a brain. So if your brain is functioning in a way that you need some extra support for it, just like you would, if your child was born with type 1 diabetes, you're going to get them their insulin. You're going to make sure that they are prepared for their insulin pump at the time that they're responsible for it. Then if your child is born with autism, you got to put those things in place. You can't put them aside. You can't, you can't freak out that your child won't be successful, because there's plenty of people that are successful with autism, with ADHD, with bipolar, with depression, all of those things.
I talk about, I often share my struggles, and it started out as one thing. and turned into something completely different. I don't have the life that I thought I would have, but I do know by doing things like this and sharing my story, I talk openly about being sexually abused and date raped, and molested. And I talk openly about having depression and PTSD and acute stress, anxiety. And although I don't deal with right now, it's more so the PTSD or even the trauma that I dealt with, with my mom's death. I openly talk about it. And there's days like Dr. J will check on me. She was like, "You good today?" Because there are days where, it gets heavy. And because I'm called to this, Satan's job is to still kill and destroy. So there's sometimes where I'm just like, I have to question my existence. Why am I living? What's the purpose? Like I go through that too. I don't have a plan. I don't want to take myself out. But I remember when I did, I'm
Right.
being honest. And so I think that that's what makes, whenever you've gone through, like you were saying before, anything, especially mental health, it makes you have a greater understanding to other people who might be struggling, with it. I know that I still feel like I'm successful, but I often say how, well, I should say successful in some areas, still struggling in others.
Definitely.
I still think that, I've, I'm still able to overcome in some places, but in the areas where I'm still struggling or whatever, I need help. And so I go to a counselor so that I can get the help that I need. It doesn't matter how many people I've helped. I think my first client was a 65-year-old suicidal grandmother. And within a few weeks, I was able to help her. And that was as an intern. It was innate to be able to help people, but I don't want to counsel anymore. That's just me.
But you know what?
I do it in full.
That's your gift, and you don't have to be in a therapist position to do it because you're counseling people right now.
Yeah, I do it
just by sharing your story and just by having these conversations. I've been watching your videos.
Thank
you. And it's like therapy. I mean, people do this a lot. People share, and sometimes this is the only time that people will hear a story. Whether it's your story, my story, or whoever else comes on your show, sometimes people will hear that story and they'll say, you know what, that's what it is. And they'll be able to name it.
Absolutely. Right.
And then they'll be able to go get what they need,
Yeah, absolutely. The whole purpose of this is really to just, one, to be real. That's why I don't ever rehearse. Like I might have a topic, but we don't rehearse really what's going to be said. I never know what direction we're going to go in. It's almost like a live counseling session without being counseling.
Right.
It's a interview skills and people share their stories and it relates on so many different topics or issues. So, I would be remiss to talk about or not talk about what just happened this weekend. So excited. Because I am not, and I will say it out loud, a Trump supporter at all. And I was looking at my Facebook memories the other day. Facebook will go, I'll get your question in 1 second, Brock. Facebook will, show memories sometimes at the worst opportune time. And then other times it's like, and so in my memory, it showed up, I was posting how sad my students were after he became president in 2016. It only been 2 days after the election or after he won. And then I sighed, it was like a sigh of relief when I, saw that. And now to say, even though I know he's trying to do whatever he can to make sure to see the votes count or whatever, to know that we have a possibility for change. There's so many different emotions that, surround it. I have been able to see 2 African Americans, whether biracial or not, in the White House, president and vice president. So thankful. Even just the fact that this is the oldest president, that we've had as well too. And, knowing that he was willing to take the chance to have an African American female to come into office, with him or run beside him, she could possibly be our next president. We never know what will happen, in 4 years, as long as it's not the person that's in now. I would be happier. But what do you think? Because it bothers me. I don't think a lot of people are empathetic to the African American plight and what we've had to deal with. And we're females. I can't even imagine what the men are going through. But I feel like nothing less, if I don't say anything else about President-elect Biden, is he's empathetic. He has gone through some things. He's experienced some loss, and loss will make you have empathy like nothing else.
Yes.
What do you say on that? And I would,
I think I'm going to try and be my diplomatic self here today. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I am, and would not and did not vote for Trump. And that's purely for my empathy, really. Because everything that he ran on, everything that he stood by, it was it was against something. Instead of trying to make something better, trying to improve something, it was to tear things down. The only thing he wanted to build was a wall.
Himself.
And I mean, and power, and the old saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he already had power, and he wanted to have more and more and more. And
Right.
so it was just, watching him, who we now know. My mom gave me a nice synopsis of Mary Trump's book.
Right.
But now knowing and hearing some of that background as a counselor, I have lots of empathy for him. He had not a fighting chance. And when you are rich like that, you surround yourself with yes men. So there was never anybody in his life to say, you probably need to see somebody about that. No, that's actually not how things function. Like,
Right.
there are some things that I can sit back as a counselor and say, oh my goodness, he really has no idea how hurtful or how damaging it is, the way that he speaks to people, the way he
How
responds to people.
narcissistic it sounds.
Exactly. And it's very sad to me that um, we we've gone back. A lot of people say America's never been this divided before. I beg to differ. We've gone back to a situation where we want whatever that person is promising us so bad that we forget that we are willing to write off the fact that, there are babies separated from their parents at the border.
Horrible.
There are babies. I don't know if it's true because I haven't looked it up, because I'm just want to pray about the whole situation. But apparently, there's been some forced sterilization. There's all kinds of madness going on down there, and it is okay because we're protecting our American way of life. We're making America great again. But guess what? There are people in this country who don't remember America being great. America wasn't great for everyone. America was great for middle to upper class white Americans. It has never been great for poor white Americans. It's never been great for poor Black Americans or even rich Black Americans. They may be able to hide some places or buy some things, but there's still, how many times have we seen an NFL player with a big name in handcuffs on the ground because they were just Black in the wrong place?
Absolutely.
Like, it's really, I mean, to try to go back, seeing how he has acted all these years, and then getting that breath of fresh air and hearing Biden speak. I mean, who wasn't brought to tears when the little boy who has the speech impediment
I know.
a Democratic position? Like,
Yes.
it's simple empathy, but we have people who are gung-ho about somebody who actually got up in front of a large crowd and made fun of someone with a disability. That is a pure picture of how we are lacking empathy, and how, I mean, yes, there are opportunities for us to touch adults that are near to us, and they will, maybe learn how to use their to name their emotions and go forth and
Right.
and
be empathetic. You can do it.
And react to things differently. But I'm gonna put a little bit of hope into these little kids that I'm teaching. There is no such thing as a bad emotion. Emotions just come. The only thing that's bad is your reaction to the emotion. So if you know how to stop and name it and calm yourself down, then if you're really excited because your team won, you don't go and have a super spreader event in the middle of the football field. You don't go and bang out windows and burn up cars because you're super excited. You stop, you name your feeling, you go have a few drinks at the bar. You just chill out, okay?
with the designated driver, if that's what you
Yes, with the designated driver
right.
or a Uber. We have new
Yes.
things now.
Yes. Yes. Let me ask this question. Brock asked, it's in three different parts, but I'm gonna read them all. So what would you say to those of us who have an old school perspective when it comes to ADHD? I sometimes tell people that I once had it as a kid, but getting the whooping cured me. Sorry. Because I want to respond to that. Is there a difference between having ADHD and just being a stubborn as a child? And how do you distinguish that difference? Let me just say, I talked about this one time. I used to tutor, and this is before I was a counselor, and I had a student who was in first grade, and they told me I was supposed to go twice a week for 30 minutes. So, know anything about this person, Lisa Gilliam? Lisa Gilliam's gonna find a way to work smarter, not harder.
Right.
I don't believe in wasting gas. I don't believe in spending extra money if I don't have to. Like, I'm gonna find a way. And so I was like, 30 minutes, that's an hour. Why do I have to come here 2 times a week in traffic or whatever, wasting gas when I could probably work longer in the set period of time and also teach him how to be able to sit there or take a break so that he could still get his tutoring done. Exactly what I did. It took patience because he was not used to sitting for more than 30 minutes. So that's fine. We did the 30 minutes. We took a break, maybe 15 minutes. And guess what we did? We did the other 30 minutes. I had to an hour a week. It did not have to be on 2 different days. So that saved me gas money. It taught him how to work through his stuff. Like you mentioned, IEPs all the time. We come up with, accommodations and modifications for these students to be able, we can't tell them, oh, you got a class, and you got to sit there, but you're taking English in the morning, but you can't do it until after school because you still got to show evidence in school. But when it comes to the real world, we don't operate like that, which is crazy to me. So ADHD is real. I will tell you that, Brock, because I've worked with a lot of students who have been diagnosed with it. I think that, a lot of people may have that old school mentality and think that it's not. However, children can still be trained just like we were to sit still. I'm not a, I'll use this example and I'm gonna let you answer, Erin. My parents did not allow me to take toys and stuff to church when I was younger. We did not have children's church when I was younger. You went in church and you sat there right there with your parents and you paid attention just like the parents did. I understand why people are making the modifications and changing or whatever, but to say that they're not going to pay attention, no, they're not paying attention because you're not training them. And parents get mad when I tell them that because I'm not a parent, but I've been paid to teach parents for a lot of years. So I know what I'm talking about. And consistency is the key. You have to train them to do, and it might be okay for you to let that happen. But to say that they're not going to sit still and they're not going to learn and you're already speaking death into the situation. But it's real. ADHD is really real. And ADD, for those who don't have hyper activity, they just have the, disorder, deficit disorder. It's real for adults and for children. But, Erin has also said she's been successful with it. Children, if they're busy, get them to do stuff with their hands. I would have a student come in. I was like, you can play with this as long as we talk. You find creative ways to reach them. Yes, Erin. So now you can say your part.
So I, especially with the school population that I'm in, I'm super hyper vigilant to make sure that we are not over-diagnosing Brock, because that does happen. But that's the bonus of having a Black lady as your counselor and having an awesome special ed team at your school is that you can have those conversations and you can also talk to your staff about, well, maybe you just need to build in this break because remember, these are first graders. They're 6. They don't sit still. When's the last time you sit still all day? One of the things that I will be saying, like a broken record, next school year is remember how you had to sit down all day to teach and you hated it? Remember that. Have empathy for your students when you make them sit down all day because there are very few jobs. Exactly. There are very few jobs where you sit all day long. And that is one of the outdated systems in our educational system is that we are making people sit all day. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. And I have to bring a friend on that one. But ADHD, yes, it's real, but yes, focus is a muscle. You can Just like Lisa gave that perfect example, you can do it over time. You can figure out your own coping skills. A fidget is not always a big fidget spinner that those people uh,
Try.
promoted the
Right.
absolute wrong way. That is a toy. A fidget is actually something that you use to get your energy out so that your brain will keep working. Sitting on an exercise ball. Yes, Miss Travers sits on an exercise ball. Having a paper clip, having a rubber band on your wrist that you pop while somebody's talking, taking notes with multiple colors. These are all fidgets that sometimes people put in place and they don't even know why they're doing it. It's just something that they do. So there are ways that you can do that. And the old school perspective is old school. Like, let's look at today. Yes, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. However, the Bible also says, train up a child in the way they should go. And that means in the bent that they were given, some people aren't going to sit down. They're just not. So you don't need to give a child a whooping for them being who they were created to be. You can
Yes.
give a child a whooping every once in a while here and there when they are willfully defiant. However, when a child just won't sit still, that sounds like something in you that needs to be fixed, not the child.
High five.
Mama bear comes out because that's the thing. Why we got to step back because I hear it every single day and it breaks my heart. That child just needs a whooping. But really? Because
Yeah.
when's the last time violence was the answer?
Right.
And not very often. So when someone is lazy, when somebody is not keeping focus, when someone is always going on vacation, like I call it, when you're inattentive, like me, because ADHD is now all ADHD, not just ADD, and they call it inattentive. So when you are inattentive, you go on vacation. I catch myself going, oh, back again all the time. But I can gather myself. I'm a professional now and I can get back to work.
Right.
Students who do that, they look like they're being disrespectful. But I mean, that's the other thing. Teachers get to know their students and they know, oh, Johnny's on vacation again. Come on, baby. Come on. Take a walk,
Right.
get a drink of water, and then come on back. It really depends on the situation. And it depends on how empathetic that teacher is to the differences of their students, because then we can just break it down to cultural differences. Is it somebody thinking that something's disrespectful when that kid really just needs a little extra support, but they're already feeling disrespected? Gone are the days where you get respect because you give respect. No. That is not our society anymore. You don't just get respect because you are an elder. Yes, would it be great for it to be that way? Awesome, but society has changed. You have to model respect. And part of modeling respect is also modeling empathy. You can't respect somebody that you don't care about, and you don't care about them if you don't understand them. And you understand them if you don't try.
Right. I think that what you said. So I'm not anti spankings. I'm just being honest. I got them when I was a child. I know things have changed. However, I think that you have to know, like, are you doing it, like you said, because they're just irritating you?
Right.
And you're aware of your own feelings and your own emotions. You're just frazzled, and so you can't take it. So you're taking it out on them. That was never the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For the reason why they were, I guess, started in the first place. But I think it's also important, again, that you have to know your child's emotions. So if you already know that they have ADHD, first of all, you were willing enough to take them to the doctor to get examined.
Yep.
And you made sure you contacted teachers and all the stuff that the doctor told you to do to get the paperwork done. Because a lot of parents don't want to do that because it's a lot of work. And then some teachers, because it's a lot of work, it's extra work. And I get that. But this is to benefit not just them, but also you. So,
Yes.
meaning the teachers, even in the class. So if you're willing to be honest about how you feel about the possibility that this might be something that they are dealing with, number one, then, and deal with the empathy that may come along with that, then you may find that this they may have to take medication just to be able to be calm. They might have to stand up in the back of the room. Just don't have them in the front of the class distracting people. Put them in the back of the room. Let them know they may not be able to tap the pencil on the desk, but you could have them like you were saying, write, take notes, help them, like, be the helper. You just got to be more creative in the way that you're working with them, but it's possible. Brock said one last.
Give me that update, Brock.
Oh, it was something that you had stated, Erin, not to be picky, but the Bible does not say spare the rod, spoil the child. Okay. So it's semantics, but more importantly, it says that if you spare the rod, you hate your child. I have to look and see the actual scripture. I can't even speak on it right now.
So, but discipline, I see where you're going with this, Brock, but discipline does not always mean corporal punishment. Discipline, the word discipline, the root of it is disciple, and that means to learn and to teach. Go ahead, because I might have it backwards. Is it to learn or to teach? Either way, it's about correcting, and correcting doesn't always happen with a spanking. Sometimes correcting happens with what do I always do? I take away privileges from my child often. Sometimes it's losing an opportunity to do something. Sometimes it's natural consequences. You don't want to log into virtual school? Guess what? I bet you ain't want that F on your report card either. Sometimes sparing the rod, the correction piece doesn't always have to be go get that switch outside.
Okay, so it actually is. So it's an adage from Proverbs 13:24. He who spares accountability hates his son, but he who loves him is careful to discipline him. But holding him.
What was that? Accountability? Mm-hmm. Accountability is not always a spanking.
And this is right. It isn't. And that I'm going to look at, that was, what's the NIV version? This is random and real. So y'all, we try to find out whoever spares the rod. So in NIV, it says, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. And then I want to look up King James because it may be different in King James.
Which translation did you say?
That was NIV.
Okay.
And then it says, he that spareth the rod hateth the son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. So basically, it whatever way of discipline, the way that it's interpreting or that I'm getting, whatever way that you are disciplining, it does not always mean spanking. It doesn't. But there are times, I believe sometimes, that you do need to.
Yes.
Then why discipline is important. And yes, not all discipline has to be punishment. So, yeah, it's fine. There's sometimes where I've misquoted stuff and I've been missing for 20 years. It's not excuse, but I get it. But we always say like colloquialisms and all these things. It's a lot. My biggest one, this has nothing to do with this, but what is it? The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but doors into the end. That's not what the Bible says. It does not say it says the time and chance happens to all people, Ecclesiastes. So, people, we will make up what we need to sometimes too, but I understand. The point is that all discipline is needed. Even God, those who love, chasing.
I need discipline often.
Yes, but it does not necessarily mean that it has to be a beating, a whooping, a spanking, or a hitting, or whatever stuff parents try to put in their head. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, my sparing, not giving spankings for me is more about knowing the child, the individual child, because you might have 5 kids and one of them always needs a spanking, and the rest of them, they had one spanking and they were like,
I'm good, Mom. I'm good. I didn't like getting spanked.
Listen, when I was in my 20s, I said, Mama, do you remember when you gave me that spanking? I was bent over and you got my legs real good with the belt. And I said, why did you even do that? That was terrible. She said, oh, you were beating up the people at the daycare. I was like, oh, I needed a spanking. So,
wow.
I was mad.
I didn't see you doing that. That's crazy.
I was madder than people, apparently. Who knows? I might have just been tripping. Anyway.
Wow. Understood.
But knowing your child and, training them to the bent that they were created for. Some of them may need spanking to that good and 17. But some of them, you may need to sit down and make them write a paper.
Right.
Because
they don't like information, and that hurts them more.
Exactly. Yeah. Because discipline is to help them get better, not to make them bad, not to make them be like,
or be afraid of you. It shouldn't be. It should
exactly.
Reverence in the sense, like if it just like we're supposed to be with Jesus and God, like if he does something, we're supposed to reverence them because
we're supposed to want to go tell him, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. So how do you have a relationship with your child if they're afraid of you? How do they come to you first and not somebody, and not especially not when they're what everybody mama always say, one of their little friends out in the street.
Right.
You don't want them to go to them. You want them to come to you, and you have to build that trust. That doesn't
Yes.
mean you don't speak to them ever, but that does mean that you don't want to put fear in them. Fear, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, not the fear of your mama.
Right. Well, with that being said, I think that's a good segue to like in this. I did want to want to know, did you want to put your social media information? Would you like for me to type it in the chat in case anybody wants to?
I mean, I don't know why you would want to follow me, but
you didn't tell them about you didn't tell them about your prayer.
Oh, a friend of mine and we just finished a 40-day prayer journey, and we're under the name on facebook.com/unified in prayer. Just because noticing within the body of Christ, particularly around this election, we've been very divided and not looking like one body. And so we focused on a few different subjects, but the main goal was to be unified. It's unified, sorry, not unified.
Okay. I have to try. I was like, that doesn't sound right. But
Yes.
Tomorrow I won't be able to change it today because it won't let
No,
me.
you're good. So yes, definitely check out Unified in Prayer. We have some other things in the works. But I'm just Erin Travers. You can find me on Twitter at beautiful_Selah. I don't do anything on Instagram because I've turned into the old lady I was born to be. But I do have an Instagram. It's beautiful_Selah 2, the number 2.
You gotta go to that.
You want me to say it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. On Twitter, I am beautiful_Selah, SELAH. And on Instagram, I am also beautiful_Selah, but the number 2 follows that Selah. But I don't do nothing on Instagram. I'll get better, maybe.
Because I checked whatchamacallit you.
Yes, and I saw that, 10 minutes before we came.
Hey, that's fine. I mean, I'm
happened to look.
I'm even TikToking now, so you gotta do what you gotta do. It's all about finding ways to do stuff. That's how you can find me. One Single Lady on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Y'all follow me. Go follow me. Like I do videos. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but now I'm actually doing dances to work out and stuff.
All right now.
You know,
I have a coworker who does some TikToks every once in a while, but I just I can't dance.
You don't have to. It's just you in the home by yourself, so you're good.
Right? I have rhythm, but my coordination is few. So we just try to make sure we don't trip and keep it moving.
Well, thank you for joining me, Erin. It's always a pleasure. I miss working with you.
Me too. And I will tell your babies that are still there, that you said hi. And also your number 1 favorite said, "Oh, please tell Miss Gilliam I said hi."
I bet you I know. You have to tell me who. I think I know who it is.
Yes, the one who cried when you left. Yes, that's the one.
Those are my
almost
sweeties.
cried when I told him I was going to talk to you and was like,
oh. Well, give a virtual hug for me, please.
I sure will.
Thank you all for joining us. Again, like, share, and subscribe this video. You can even find some of these videos on the website. Again, www.lisalgilliam.com. There it is for you. Please go. If you ever heard me sing, again, speak, or anything, training, please go and make a comment on the guest book. I appreciate it. Erin, thank you so much for joining me. I love you. I appreciate
Thank you for having me. I love you. And I miss you, but you look beautiful. And it was so great to see your face.
Thank you. Join us next week too. We have my friend Damon Fair, we're actually going to be talking about loneliness, a male and a female, talking about like relationships and stuff. And so
they're
both 2 people in their 40s and how we're dealing with it. I don't know.
Hey, I'm on the countdown to 40.
Yes. Welcome to your closeness. I'm on the countdown to 50.
No, you got a few more years, but 4 months to 40. Miss Travers is excited to be a whole. Listen, I told you I get to be the grandma I was born to be.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for y'all.
My
You stay.
stepdaughter is
You
not
hold
having
on.
any babies right now.
Hold on.
Not
And
an official grandma.
for everybody else. Thank you all for